Hello, dear ones. We have a very powerful supermoon in Sagittarius in Vedic Astrology at 17 degrees, and this is in Purva Ashada. So this is incredibly powerful as it's the first full moon after the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. There's a lot of light right now, and of course the full moon is always illuminating the dark, illuminating our consciousness so that we can see in the darker corners. And this full moon has a lot to do with higher truth coming through, untying our karmic knots. It is a place in the zodiac that is incredibly transformative. One of the most transformative places, the galactic plane, is here in Sagittarius and in Gemini. And so this is can be very emotional, as full moons can be, and especially with Mars in Gandanta. And you can refer to my July update for that information. And this is very much the invincible star, and it empowers us to step into our higher purpose in a new way by shedding the identities that are keeping us from doing so. Hi, I'm Prema Gurreri, and welcome to Chart Your Path. I'm so glad that you're here. If you're new to my channel and you want to get my updates and the other things that I put out, go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate that. Like this, share this. That supports the channel, and that would be really wonderful. If you don't know what your Vedic ascendant is or your moon sign is, then you'll want to go to my link in the description, which is to get the chart calculator. It's free. You get a beautiful guide that helps you to understand your chart a bit along with it, and that way you can follow along a little bit better in knowing where this is happening for you and where my updates are happening for you. The link for the Sacred Wealth Code quiz is down there with some other resources and all my readings, including the Full Moon Healing Circle, which will be happening on July 2nd. This full moon in Sagittarius, again, is incredibly powerful as it is a supermoon. It's close to the earth. It is right after the summer solstice, and it is incredibly transformative in Purva Ashada on the galactic plane. And Purva Ashada is known as the invincible star. It is our inner spiritual warrior, where it really gets ignited to courageously step into our higher purpose. And that inner spiritual warrior also is represented by Mars, which is in Gandanta during this time, which you can check out in my July update, where I give you everything that's going on in July. And if that's not out when you watch this video, it'll be out very soon. So if you subscribe, you'll get a notice for that as well. So, of course, when we have a full moon, we have got the queen, we've got the full moon, and opposite the leader, the sun, which happens to be in Gemini during this time. And, Gemini is incredibly mental. The sun is there. It's a great place for it. We've got Mercury there as well, our great communicator, creating a Buddha Aditya Yoga there. And so we've got this mental brilliance going on, a lot of ideas and new direction, a lot of clarity coming through, and maybe some distraction as well. And this full moon being in the constellation of Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter being that great teacher. And Jupiter happens to be aspecting this as well. So it brings in a lot of grace wherever Jupiter is aspecting, and it's aspecting all the fire signs as it's sitting in Aries, brings in a lot of grace. Now, the deity that goes along with this nakshatra is Appa. And you can think of Appa, she's the cosmological river goddess, river goddess, and the lover of Varuna, the god of the seas, and merges with Varuna. Now, Varuna being, the higher truth, and in doing so, releases parts of herself, as the mythology goes, so that in parts of her identity that are born from unconscious karmic imprints, karmic knots. And so the lesson here with Purva Ashada brings us to that we have to leave some things behind if we're to come into a more truthful state of being, if we're to come into being able to really fluidly step into our higher purpose. And so this full moon really opens a very potent healing portal that brings clearing, it brings releasing and purification to untie the karmic knots that hold the old beliefs that are, hidden in our subconscious, because that's where our old beliefs are. That's where our unconscious karmic imprints are and programming, and that keep us, stuck, held back, in fear, and playing smaller than that's in our soul blueprint encoded to actually play here. And, we're all here on this planet at this incredibly interesting and turbulent time because we chose to be here at some level, and we've got a part to play. So this full moon has the potential to really help you to step into, to live, the next level of whatever your higher purpose is. And in the full moon healing circle, my sacred healing circles that I hold on every full moon, this one will be on July 2nd. We'll be using this cosmic energy to release, heal, to come into a soul-inspired action plan for integration, so that you're really empowered with the next steps on what to do to step into your higher purpose as we clear away some of these karmic imprints. So the link is down below for that, and please join me, or you can go to solutionary.com, SOULUTIONARY.com, to enroll in the full moon healing circle, and we'll just be creating this next lunar cycle, really diving into it together. So again, this can be a pretty emotional time, so you're going to want to stay grounded. You want to really take care of yourself and give yourself space. As full moons, other people's energy can get kind of messy during this time. So give yourself the space, because the higher intention here with this full moon being in Purva Ashada is around spiritual motivation. It's moksha. That's the motivation here, in improving our life through our spiritual liberation. And through that, higher truth can really come to the surface. We'll have things that come up in our consciousness that we can really connect in, understand more about divine law, understand more about, the workings of the universe, if we give ourselves space to do that, and especially the clearing space to do that. We'll probably see higher truths come out collectively, especially with leadership. And so stay tuned for what comes up around this full moon. A lot of times we think we know the truth of something, and a lot of times we're attached to the way things are, or the way we think things are, because that's what feels safe for us at some level. And how many times you've looked back and gone, oh, I thought that was true, and now now I know what's true. Well, we're on an evolutionary journey. You're, being a conscious being and stepping more and more into our consciousness, and as we ascend. And so, be very open and listen closely, because both from things you may hear, you're going to hear some higher truth come through, and also, really being able to tune in to those flashes of deep insight. Give yourself the space for that with meditation, with sitting in nature. Get your feet on the ground. Do the clearing work. Come to the healing circle. Do the clearing work. Be open to shifting your identity. Again, as that river comes to the ocean, it has to let go of part of its identity. It's no longer the river. It connects with the one. Give yourself that time and that space. In meditation, when we are, and I create a lot of meditations in all my products and programs, and even in a lot of my free resources, there's meditations. And when we are in meditation and we are then just focusing on consciousness, there's a lot that can come through. They say that we can see a very small percentage of what's really happening. So this flash of so-called reality in front of our eyes, give yourself that time behind your eyes to be able to tune into that, and be open to letting go of some of the soul questions that we'll be working with in the healing circle, and you can tune into them however you choose, is that what is the identity that would be useful for me to let go of so I could step more courageously into what I'm really here for, my higher purpose. And there's a lot of courage with this nakshatra. It's said with this nakshatra that as placement and being in Sagittarius, that it's that invincible star. So it gives us the courage to let it go, to step into what's next. So really use this energy. It's a wonderful, wonderful portal for us. So what I want to invite you to do is really sit with that. What's the identity that I've been carrying around that's not serving me anymore? What's keeping me from being able to merge deeper with my own spirituality and really understanding and knowing the truth of what I'm here for and what I'm here to do next? So give yourself the space for that, and be open to releasing, because there's a great wave of clearing that comes with this. Just like think about water, it can just wash away. Water is very devotional. It's not a water sign, but the nakshatra and the god Appa that is represented here is very water-like. In fact, Venus is the ruler of this nakshatra, and Venus is kind of in a precarious position too, because Venus is just about to transition into Leo. Again, I talk about this in my July update, and the link to that should be at the end of this video, or if it hasn't been released yet. If you subscribe, you'll be sure to get that, because there's so many shifts happening in July. It's a really powerful, powerful month, a lot of Leo energy. And finally, Mars is going to come into a strong placement to really fire up your motivation about things. All right, so if you are interested in knowing more about how all of this hits you, then you can certainly book a reading with me, a healing session. And again, I invite you to come to the full moon healing circles. They're incredibly transformative. All right, so much love to you. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing this.